Hello, grade 5 math students. This is chapter 4.6, dividing a fraction by a whole number. There are three different methods that can be used for dividing a fraction by a whole number. Method 1 uses a bar model. Let's work through method 1 using this word problem. Maura cuts a piece of rectangular clay in half. So we're going to start with a whole piece of clay that she's going to divide in half. She then divides 1/2 into 3 equal parts. What fraction of the whole piece of clay is each of the 3 parts? So Maura has begun with one solid piece of clay that she's cut into halves. Then she's gotten rid of this half, and she's taken the half that is left and divided it into 3 equal parts. So we're dividing 1/2 by 3. And that will tell us how much each one of these blocks is worth. So the model shows that if we divide it equally, that one of these bricks is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1/6 of our entire piece of clay. So method 1 gives us an answer of 1/6. Let's try method 2. In method 2, we'll write our problem like this: 1/2 divided by 3. We can think of this division problem as being the same thing as 1/3 of 1/2, right? Because we're taking 1/2 and dividing it into 3 equal parts, which will give us thirds. So we really have 1/3 of 1/2. And remember, in math, of is code for multiply. So we're going to take 1/3 times 1/2 to find our answer. And that answer will be 1 times 1 equals 1 over 3 times 2 equals 6, or 1/6. So each part is 1/6 of the whole piece of clay. Now let's try method 3. In method 3, we're going to learn a new vocabulary term for math, and it's called reciprocal. So let's begin by writing our problem: 1/2 divided by 3, or 1/2 divided by 3 over 1. Now, dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. What's a reciprocal? Well, the reciprocal of 3 over 1 is 1 over 3. You find a fraction's reciprocal by simply swapping places for the numerator and the denominator. So you have 3 over 1 becoming 1 over 3. So when you divide by a number, what you're actually doing is multiplying by its reciprocal. So now we'll rewrite our problem, 1/2 divided by 3 over 1, as 1/2 times 1/3. See, I took the division sign and changed it into a multiplication sign, and I took 3 over 1 and used its reciprocal. Now we solve. Numerator times numerator gives us 1. Denominator times denominator gives us 6, giving us an answer of 1/6. So each part is 1/6 of the whole piece of clay. Let's work through another example now that we've seen all 3 possible methods. Let's work through another word problem. A roll of wire, 3/5 feet long, is cut into 6 equal pieces. How long is each piece? Let's begin with method 1 that has us draw the bar model. We're going to begin by drawing a length of wire that is 1 foot long and dividing it into 5 equal pieces. These pieces are not actually here. Remember, we only have 3/5 of a feet of wire, but we need to consider the whole foot. We have to use every part of the foot because the answer is how many feet long is our each individual piece. So now we're going to take the 3/5 that we have, and we're going to divide that into 6 equal pieces. Well, that's pretty easy. We've got 3 parts, so we just divide each one in half to give us 6 pieces. Now, whatever we've done to these sections, we also have to do to these sections so that we're keeping the same denominator for our fraction. Now, instead of being out of fifths, this will be out of tenths, correct? We now have 10 tenths instead of 5/5. So now we want to take our 3/5 and divide by 6, or simply count up here, which shows us that if we're dividing it into 6 equal pieces, each piece is valued at 1/10. Correct? We have 1 colored in out of the 10 possible pieces we had representing the 1 whole foot. I know that's a little confusing because 4 of those tenths aren't even actually there, but we have to consider them because we're going to measure out of feet, not out of 3/5 of a foot. Let's move on and try method 2. In method 2, we're going to use a fraction method. So we're going to first start by writing our problem, which is 3/5 foot divided by 6. So what we want to find is 1/6 of 3/5. We can rewrite that as 1/6 times 3/5 because we know of just means to multiply. Now we can cross-reduce in this problem by dividing by 3, giving us new fractions of 1/2 times 1/5. And our final answer is 1/10. Each piece of wire is 1/10 of a foot long. Now let's move on to method 3, using the reciprocal. In method 3, we once again begin by writing our division problem. 3/5 divided by 6. Now we need to send our problem through the reciprocalinator so that we can solve. And here's what the reciprocalinator does. It sends our original fraction down as 3/5, as is, nothing changes. Our division sign becomes a multiplication sign. And 6/1 becomes 1/6. It turns into its reciprocal. Now, we multiply. We can cross-reduce by 3, giving us 1/5 times 1/2, and then we solve 1/10. So each of the 6 pieces of wire is 1/10 of a foot long. In our next problem, we're being asked to divide 1/4 of a pound of cantaloupe into 2 equal pieces for 2 friends to share. So what is the weight of each piece if we divide that 4/5 pound into 2 equal pieces? So let's begin with method 1, and let's draw a picture. So I'm going to draw my 4/5 of a pound, and I'm going to add that 1/5 of a pound that isn't really there onto the end, okay? So that's 1 whole pound, and here are my 4/5 of a pound right here. Okay. So now I want to divide that into 2 equal parts. Well, we simply need to divide our 4 into 2, which gives us 2, right? So one person gets this amount, and the other person gets this amount. So what is the weight of each piece? 2/5 of a pound, because we take 1, 2, and we put that out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/5 of our pound that we've divided our piece of cantaloupe into. Okay? Now let's try method 2 or 3. So in method 2 or 3, we'll begin by setting up our problem, 4/5 divided by 2, which becomes 4/5 times 1/2, either because we're taking 1/2 of 4/5 of being code for multiply, or we're sending it through the reciprocalinator, and 2 becomes 1/2, and the division sign becomes a multiplication sign. We can cross-reduce, dividing each of these by 2, so our new fractions become 2/5 times 1/1, or just 2/5. So our answer is that each piece of cantaloupe is 2/5 of a pound. Let's try one final problem together before I have you try some on your own. Okay, folks, here's our last problem that we'll work together. What is 9/11ths divided by 3? Let's begin with a model. First, let's draw our bar, and let's divide that into 11 equal pieces. Okay, so they're not perfectly equal, but you get the idea. So our model shows that we have 9/11ths here. We'll forget about these 2 pieces right here. And we want to divide it into 3 equal parts. Well, 9 divided by 3 gives us 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So a third is 3/11ths. So 9/11ths divided by 3 is 3/11ths. Now let's try method 2. What is 9/11ths divided by 3? Well, we want to find 1/3 of 9/11ths, or 1/3 times 9/11. We can cross-reduce. 9 and 3 are both divisible by 3, giving us new fractions 1/1 and 3/11. So our final answer is 3/11ths. Now let's work through method 3, the reciprocal method. So 9/11ths divided by 3. Let's send our problem through the reciprocalinator. 9/11ths stays 9/11ths. Division sign becomes a multiplication sign, and 3/1 becomes its reciprocal, 1/3. Both 9 and 3 are divisible by 3, so we can cross-reduce, giving us 3/11 times 1/1, or a final answer of 3/11ths. So 9/11ths divided by 3 equals 3/11ths. All right, wolves, please try these 6 problems on your own. You may use any of the 3 methods taught in this video: the bar model, the fraction of a fraction, or the reciprocal method to solve. When I see you tomorrow, we'll practice more with dividing fractions by whole numbers. Thanks for your hard work and have a great night.